Hey Mung Beans. I'm Joey.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Wine Time Mysteries.
If you're into true crime,
And if the paranormal gets your nips hard,
then this is for you. But before we get started,
make sure to follow us on Spotify and stalk us on Insta and TikTok.
or send your inquiries to winetimemysteries@gmail.com, and we promise to at least try to get back to you.
Lego! Warning, today's episode contains graphic content that may not be suitable for people under the age of 18. If you are considered a minor, exit stage left. Please consult your GP before listening to this podcast. Thanks, bitch.
That was my story. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I need to share it.
Yeah, maybe next time, just don't.
But I like eating corn.
What? Ew. Gross. I have to admit that this case is probably, it involves the most deaths that I have ever spoken about on our podcast so far, and some pretty creative ways in which people were to die. Because this week, Mung Beans, we are going to be talking about Unit 731.
I can't wait.
Thought so. Well, Unit 731 was a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese term that engaged in lethal human experimentation during the Sino-Japanese War, which was between like 1937 and 1945, and also World War II. Because I guess that coincided with when the World War ended, so...
Oh, I'm excited. Japan. I love Japan.
Maybe less after this.
Oh.
Some of the most notorious war crimes were committed by the armed forces of Imperial Japan. So I said Japan, right? Unit 731 was based in the Pinfang district of Harbin, which is the largest Japanese city or Japanese puppet state in Manchukuo, which is now northwest China.
Oh.
So they owned some, like a province there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They routinely conducted tests on human beings who were internally referred to as logs, and not logs like data entry, which is what I thought it was originally. No. But it was, they referred to them as logs as in bits of wood falling over to disassociate themselves from what they were doing.
Oh.
So they were just a test subject. You're not a human.
Okay.
They would also test the biological weapons on cities and towns in China. So they owned or lived in this small puppet state,
Yeah.
but they were basically using their locale to test out their biological warfare on the surrounding cities and towns.
That's so bad.
It's pretty messed up. Biological warfare is a huge no-no nowadays, though I'm sure it still exists. However, the United States secretly gave them immunity in exchange for the data they collected during their human experiments.
Of course, not surprised.
Of all people, it was the Soviet forces that managed to arrest researchers. Fucking Russia, my guy. Of all of the places, It's Russia with the moral high ground in this battle. I found that very interesting, and I did giggle a little bit when I heard, because I was like, of all people, but like also come through, right? Because someone's got to try to stop them. Anyway, so the Soviet forces managed to arrest researchers and tried them in the Khabarovsk war crime trials in 1949. The US, however, did not try any researchers so that the information and experience gained in bioweapons could be co-opted into their own biological warfare program. The same thing that they also did with German researchers.
I know, as I get older, I start to realise the US isn't as innocent as they make it out to be.
Speaking of which, this may be an unpopular opinion. I know at least it will be for our American listeners. And hashtag not all or whatever, but that country has some dirty laundry and a whole lot of blood on their hands. America, land of the free and home of the brave, right? More like America, land of the enslaved and home of the afraid. And here's like a little, I don't know, haiku? No, proverb. You can't build a house on a pile of corpses and expect the foundation to be solid. You can't wash your hands with the blood of the slain and expect them to be clean.
Oh, girl.
I know this is obviously something that took place in Japan, and I'm not talking about America today, but I couldn't help but get annoyed, and I could actually go on and 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 on, but we only have a small window really to complain, so I'm going to be moving on swiftly. It's been a little while since I've done a bit of a gooey one.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Well, I actually have stopped doing the gooey ones because you don't like them.
Because I'm a little bitch.
But today I said, fuck it, it's interesting, I'm going to talk about it,
Yeah.
and these stories need to be heard.
Fuck
so,
yeah, let's do it.
people were gathered from surrounding areas, homeless, incarcerated, political prisoners, or people that were locked up literally for, and I'm using air quotes, suspicious behavior. Mm-hmm. As in, you look dodgy, I'm locking you up.
Did you just breathe? Get over here.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
And that's basically how they got most of their test subjects that they took back to Unit 731. People were injected with syphilis and gonorrhea to see the effects that the disease would have on the human body so they could study them. Prisoners were also subjected to frequent rape by the guards. And that is literally, I'm starting off at the nicest, like...
Oh, I bet you are.
I know that's not nice. Thousands of men, women, children, and infants were subjected to vivisection. What is that? Your face is telling me right now, so I'm going to tell you.
You don't know my face.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
And I quite love it.
I love it. Tell me all about it.
I
Oh my god.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how an autopsy is usually done on humans after they die, or a necropsy if it is an animal? Well, a vivisection is the same thing, only the subject is alive. And in most of the ones that were done at Unit 731, it was done sans anesthesia. So they were awake the whole time. And most of them resulted in death of the victim.
I feel sick. That's gross. Fuck.
We have a long way to go here. Try some fudge. Don't put it in your butt. The fuck? One member of Unit 731 admitted to performing a vivisection on a pregnant woman.
Oh, fuck off.
Apparently, they would do these after injecting people with a virus, and then they would remove organs to see the effects that the disease would have on the human body.
Because I'm like blocking everything out. Who were they? They were doing these on Chinese people? Yeah. Okay, cool. Not cool, but that's
The Japanese would not do it on their own people.
Well, no, well, that's what I was like, But then, as you were.
Limbs were amputated to study blood loss, and sometimes the limbs would be reattached, but deliberately on the opposite side of the body.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm.
Just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Stomachs were removed, and their esophagus was reattached directly to the intestines. Parts of organs, brains, lungs, and livers were removed from some people to see what would happen if they just didn't have them anymore. They're very creative, let me tell you that.
Oh, I bet.
Plague-infected fleas bred in a lab were released by low-flying airplanes upon Chinese cities, and thousands of people died due to a bubonic plague epidemic. They re-released the bubonic plague upon people to see what would happen.
Don't trust no one.
Yeah, trust yourself, trust yourself. They infected water wells, marshes, and rations that they themselves distributed to people with typhoid and paratyphoid germs. That's kind of like salmonella. Epidemics broke out, and researchers were, and I quote, elated with results and concluded that paratyphoid pathogens were the most effective upon people. The world was a very turbulent place. We I think sometimes we take for granted what it's like now. And it's not perfect. It's far from perfect, but 12 large-scale field trials of biowarfare were performed. At least 11 cities were attacked with biological agents. Tests were also done on prisoners with the bubonic plague, cholera, smallpox, and botulism, along with many other horrible things. This research led to the creation of the bacilli bomb and the flea bomb, which were used to spread the plague. These bombs were designed to infect agriculture, reservoirs, wells, basically anything that they possibly could with anthrax, with plague-carrying fleas, typhoid, dysentery, cholera, and other deadly pathogens. Basically a cocktail of death for anyone in the area.
No.
What America didn't know was that Japan was actually planning to attack them, well, at least San Diego, California, in the final months of the war, but surrendered 5 weeks prior to their plan being actioned. And excuse my ignorance, as I really don't know, because they didn't teach us about this stuff in school, at least not in NZ. I don't know about here. And I'm only asking because I simply don't know, but wasn't that also kind of around the same time of the Hiroshima atomic bomb that was let off there?
I think so.
So it would make sense if they surrendered 5 weeks before that, if they were just bombed by something far worse than anything any of them had designed or created. I don't know. Because I think that was around 1945 as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Long story short, I don't know. Ash doesn't know. So if you
don't
do...
know, I don't know.
Yeah, if I don't know, you don't know, we don't know.
We don't know.
But if you do know, and you know what, Callum, if you're listening, I bet you probably would know, because you know all about that kind of stuff.
He's probably screaming at his...
Yeah, he's probably like, guys...
It's this, you idiots!
Fucking idiots! But that's what I love about you. So send us a message or something and let us know, because I just don't know. You probably thought that I was done.
I was hoping you were done.
With human experiments.
I was hoping.
They also tested the effects of weapons on people, and here's a list of things that they did. Grenades would be placed at various distances from people to see what happened. So they would have different scenarios put where someone had, maybe it was right beside them, or it was a meter away from them, 5 meters away from them. They just wanted to see what was going to happen. They tested flamethrowers on people. People were tied to stakes to test pathogen bombs, chemical weapons, shrapnel bombs, and varying debris and explosive bombs. Don't forget the old faithfuls like the bayonet and the knife. They would also test how many hits it took for a person to die, or where they could stab to prolong death and just make the person suffer, because that's kind of what they're interested in. They would deprive people of food and water to see how long it took them to die. People were put into low pressure chambers until their eyes popped out of their sockets. They did temperature testing, so extreme heat and extreme cold. People were hung upside down until they died, because again, they wanted to see how long it would take for them to pass away. People were crushed with heavy objects. They were electrocuted, dehydrated with hot fans, put into centrifuges and spun until they died, injected with animal blood, given x-rays until the radiation killed them, put in gas chambers, injected with seawater, burned or buried alive, poisoned with tetrodotoxin, that's like the pufferfish, fugu, and the blue-ringed octopus, and the cone shell, heroin, the only thing I would sign up for.
Heroin?
Yeah, just let me go.
Let me go out good.
Yeah, I'll do that one. Hold the rest, but I'll do that one. Blood draining and blood transfusions between patients with incompatible blood types. Yeah. Mustard gas, lewisite, cyanic acid gas, white phosphorus, adamsite, and phosgene gas. Frostbite testing. And not to mention rape and forced pregnancies. Roughly around 500,000 people died at the hands of the research from the Unit 731. There is honestly so much information that I left out due to brevity, but honestly you just need to read all of this in detail to see the actual scope, because there's a lot that I just didn't put in there. Not because I wasn't trying to be gross or graphic, but it was just to make sure that this episode wasn't a two-parter. I am genuinely disgusted, and this was recommended to me by a non-listener, thanks Cody, but nonetheless it was interesting, albeit disturbing, and I hope that I never have to see anything like that again. Ever, 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 ever. And that, dear mung beans, was this week's episode on Unit 731. I'm
going to look it up, but I don't want to.
I didn't look at any photos.
I don't like that. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You.
Anyway,
very interesting.
That wraps up this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't know if that's the right...
We're not feeling faint and like you're going to throw up like me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Don't forget to share and to follow us on Insta, and
love you, bye.
See you later. We'll talk to you next time.
Oh god.
If you come back to listen, that is.
If I come back.
You say it every time you turn up every
Shut
week,
up. So. You don't know me.
I'm not worried.
Bye.
Goodbye.